Hello, my Italian food fanatics. Today, we're going to make a Sicilian dish that's not only simple, but it's fast and it's easy. It's spaghetti with tomatoes, garlic, capers, and mint. And of course, a little bit of hot pepper in there as well. But before we go into the kitchen and I teach you how to make this, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, hit the bell button, share with your friends, and leave a comment down below. Today we're going to be using thick spaghetti, because I like thick spaghetti. It's not as, of course, thin as regular spaghetti, but the key here is that it buys us an extra couple of minutes to make the sauce for this. You don't really need it, but it's good to have that little bit of a buffer. So without any further ado, let's get in the kitchen and make this. I'll see you in the kitchen. All right, let's get started. We're going to need some spaghetti. I'm using a thick spaghetti today. I kind of like thick spaghetti. It reminds me a little of bucatini, but not so thick, essentially. We're going to use a little bit of California extra virgin olive oil. We'll use some garlic, some red pepper flakes. We're going to use some tomatoes. We're going to use some capers. And finally, in addition to our salt and pepper, some mint. And these together make it very, very Sicilian. So, first things that we have to do is make concasse out of this. We're going to peel the tomatoes, and then we're going to crush the garlic, and we're going to break up the mint. It's not going to be very, very fine. It's going to be more rustic. The same thing with the tomatoes. Just a rough chop is going to do. And we just crush the garlic, as I mentioned. All right, let's go. And I'm not going to show you how to make the concasse. If you don't know how to make it, I'll put a flag up or a little box at the top of the screen, the top right-hand side, and you can learn how to make it there. It's very easy. All right, let's move to fabricating these, and I'll be back. All right, our concasse is ready. Our our mint is torn. And we have our crushed garlic cloves. It's now time to go onto the stove. All right, we're now on the stove, and I already have a pot of water going, and I'm going to place, it's 4 cups of water, but because we're using capers and they're salty, I'm only going to add 1 teaspoon of regular table salt. And since we've added that, we'll now go ahead and add in our thick spaghetti. All right, this takes a little bit longer to cook than regular spaghetti, so we can put this in, and then we can start with the sauce. All right, while our pasta is cooking, we're going to add a little bit of olive oil into our pan. I'm always a little bit generous with olive oil because it's so good. And we'll put in our garlic cloves, and we're just going to fry these up until they begin to color a little bit, and then we'll remove them. I'll be back when that happens. All right, as you can see, our garlic is fried up a little bit, starting to color somewhat, getting a little golden brown. That means it has done its job, and we'll remove it. We're then going to add in a little bit of hot pepper, our flakes, depending on how much you like. I kind of like a lot of them. And we'll add in our tomatoes. We're just going to let them fry up for maybe 30 seconds while they release their juices. We'll add in some capers. Not too many. Just enough to give the dish a little flavor. And we'll wait for our pasta to be done. And it should be done in about 2 or 3 minutes. It's a very fast dish to make. We'll be back. All right, our pasta is ready. I've had this turned off for the last couple of minutes. I just turned it back on, and we're going to add our pasta in there. and it's just a little bit underdone, a tiny bit. So all we need to do essentially is finish cooking. We're going to add our mint leaves, just like this. Okay, you can add a little bit of pasta water. Just a little bit, you don't need too much. And for about 30 seconds, we are going to cook this up. This is a peasant dish, so it's not going to have any cheese. It's with what's available on hand, essentially, because mint is like a weed. Tomatoes are plentiful, capers, of course. I don't rinse the capers because they're not in salt. So let's give this a taste. Oh yes. Pasta is perfectly done. It's time to dish it up. Be back in a second. All right, my Italian food fanatics, you saw me dish it up. Now it's time to taste it. Now, we have to remember one thing about this. It's a peasant dish. And so there's no cheese involved. It's just stuff that they can get out of the garden. They have some capers around. They have a couple of tomatoes, some garlic, some spaghetti, and that's it. This is a very, very quick meal that you can whip up in literally the time that it takes to cook the macaroni, the spaghetti, the thick spaghetti in this instance. Here it goes. This is a perfect dish for summer. A little bit of heat in there to make you sweat. There's no need for any more salt. The capers are salty enough. And of course, we only added half the amount of salt that we normally have in our pasta water. It's perfect. Pasta perfectly cooked. The mint lends a freshness and a brightness to the dish. Of course, the olive oil's there. The capers are gorgeous. And of course, tomatoes and pasta and capers and all of that. You just can't beat it. And of course, there's no cheese, right? Well, that's good. Before I forget, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, hit the bell button, share with your friends, and leave a comment down below. I really appreciate it. Wow. You got to make this. You got to try this. Totally Sicilian, out of this world. It's perfect for lunch. With a glass of white wine, you can't go wrong. So good. And as it cools down a little bit, it gets even better. A lot of times Italian food doesn't taste good so hot. And of course it doesn't taste good cold. It's warm. That's where the flavors really meld. It gives it a little bit of time and you can taste everything. So I encourage you to try your food at different heat levels as far as hot, not spicy. Really, really good. Anyway, I'm going to eat this. Let me not bore you. Wherever you're in the world, thanks for watching. Thanks for looking at my channel. I really appreciate it. And wherever you are, I hope you have a great day. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.